Try to Praise the Mutilated World by Adam Zagorowski. Try to praise the mutilated world. Remember June's long days and wild strawberries, drops of rosé wine, the nettles that methodically overgrow the abandoned homestead of exiles. You must praise the mutilated world. You watched stylish yachts and ships. One of them had a long trip ahead of it, while salty oblivion awaited others. You've seen the refugees going nowhere. You've heard the executioners sing joyfully. You should praise the mutilated world. Remember the moments when we were together in a white room and the curtain fluttered. Return in thought to the concert where music flared. You gathered acorns in the park in autumn and leaves eddied over the earth's scars. Praise the mutilated world, and the gray feather a thrush lost, and the gentle light that strays and vanishes and returns. My name is Mireya Aramis, but I go by Mimi because no one can say my name correctly. This poem caught my eye because of the title. The word choice for the title isn't necessarily appealing, but it's enough to make you scroll back to the poem wondering if you read it correctly. The author, Adam Zagorowski, was born in 1945 in Lwów, Ukraine, also now known as Lviv. However, during that same year his family moved to western Poland. He lived in Berlin for a few years before moving to France in 1982. He also taught in the US at the University of Houston and the University of Chicago. He wrote in Polish for the most part, but a lot of his work has been translated into English. He was considered one of the generation of '68 or new wave poets in Poland. He was pretty much a part of two distinct movements in the 1960s and 1970s. They were intellectual and literary movements that protested against the realities of communism. It highly criticized what life was actually like under communist regime. He won a few awards during his lifetime, such as the 2004 Neustadt International Prize for Literature, the 2010 Poetry Prize, and the 2013 Jean Klein International Poetry Prize. He was 75 when he died on March 21st, 2010, in Krakow, Poland. The title by itself is a very clear sign about what the poem's theme is. Try to Praise the Mutilated World gives us insight on what we can expect from the poem. Breaking it down, the words are asking us to do something. The world isn't a perfect place, far from it due to a few factors depending on beliefs. However, the majority of the world does have morals and a mutual understanding that it is important to enjoy the happy moments in life. No one knows what will be their last moment. Life should be about enjoying the good moments even though the world is cruel, because those moments in life are fleeting. The entire poem is only one stanza, with no rhyme scheme, and it is an open form poem. This alone speaks a lot about the poem itself. It isn't as complex as other sonnets, sestinas, villanelles, or any other closed form poem. However, the simplicity and the freedom it has brings the poem together. Due to its uncomplicated nature, it is straight to the point, but with the nature of this type of theme, it adds on to the theme rather than taking away from it. The lack of rules and restrictions allows for the thoughts and emotions to flow naturally. Removing most of the focus from the form of the poem itself grants the focus towards the words and devices the poems contain, which leads to some of the ways the writer tries to write the message to us readers. He describes scenarios of both beauty and destruction within the poem. He talks about wild strawberries, drops of rosé wine, speaking with an almost affectionate tone and admiring the vibrancy of the world. But then he transitions into a more dark scene, speaking of nettles that methodically overgrow the abandoned homestead of exiles. The switch is very sudden and unexpected, but that is what he meant to do. The switch up of the type of nature he speaks about adds on to the overall emotion of the poem. It invokes feelings of beautiful new experiencing while contrasting with the devastation of loss and decay. These two lines are only scratching the surface of the entire theme. The poem continues to use vivid imagery and comparison between the alluring side to life and the destruction side of life. By the end of the poem he states, "The gentle light that strays and vanishes and returns." This one line brings both sides together. In life there is not just good or bad. There is both. Even though we cannot control it all, we can control how we are in the moments that are good. Happy moments that are fleeting, but are meant to be cherished, as it isn't known when they may come again. That is the hope he is trying to guide us to. hoping that another beautiful moment comes and that we relish in it, even in the bad. There is also repetition used in the poem. While it isn't exactly a full line, it's a phrase that is mentioned 5 times, including the title. Praise the mutilate world is a series of words repeated, and that repetition is meant to give us a clear path to the theme. The repetition of these words are used to try to get his point across. He's building up to his overall theme by reminding the reader of the point he's trying to get across to the reader. He's adding emphasis to the theme and the core idea of beauty in a bad place. It is serving as a call to action and is continuing to invoke a sense of urgency, trying to get the reader to look at the world from a different perspective and understand that the world may be a broken place, but there should still be hope in the small good moments in life. Zagorowski had a rough childhood. Growing up in post-World War II Poland, he was raised in a destroyed environment. He lived in ruins, yet he saw hope. The fact that the world continued to endure after the horrors of World War II. He believed that there was still good in the world, that humanity just needed to endure. He made a career out of doing what he loved. He created a better life for himself, even though he was born in the ashes of destruction and decay. He lived the life he wanted to and enjoyed what he did in life, even in the darkest times. This reminds me of a darker time in my life when I was a sophomore in high school. I was called out of school early on February 1st, and my mom took me to get Starbucks. I felt something was wrong since she didn't tell me ahead of time that I was going to leave school early. That's when my mom told me one of my childhood best friends had died. I don't really want to explain how, but all I can think about was how we were planning to hang out and catch up in a few months since he had moved to Texas about a few years prior. His family was coming to visit for a wedding. I felt like my whole world was swallowing me whole. We had just texted the night before, and I didn't notice anything. Later that day, those who had known him and were friends with him met at his old youth group's leader's house. We talked, prayed, and cried. There wasn't much we could do since we were states away. He had a memorial, but I wasn't allowed to go in person. It was a nice video, though. Weeks had passed, and his family had come to California. I had such a deep pit in my stomach. I didn't know how I could face his mom after everything. But when the time came, she just hugged me. Didn't say anything, just hugged me. It was crazy to me since she had lost her eldest son, her first son, yet she was so strong. She continues to be strong, constantly posting about her family, but never forgetting her son in the process. This story reminded me of this poem so much because you should always enjoy the time you have with your loved ones, and even in those peaceful moments. No one knows what the future holds and what will happen. You just have to take it one day at a time. Try to Praise the Mutilated World by Adam Zagorowski. Try to praise the mutilated world. Remember June's long days and wild strawberries, drops of rosé wine, the nettles that methodically overgrow the abandoned homestead of exiles. You must praise the mutilated world. You watched stylish yachts and ships. One of them had a long trip ahead of it, while salty oblivion awaited others. You've seen the refugees going nowhere. You've heard the executioners sing joyfully. You should praise the mutilated world. Remember the moments when we were together in a white room and the curtain fluttered. Return in thought to the concert where music flared. You gathered acorns in the park in autumn and leaves eddied over the earth's scars. Praise the mutilated world, and the gray feather a thrush lost, and the gentle light that strays and vanishes and returns.